The main event, 12 rounds for the undisputed super middleweight championship of the world.
One of boxing's biggest stars returns to the ring on Saturday when Saul Canelo Alvarez defends his undisputed super middleweight championship against undisputed junior middleweight champion Jermell Charlo.
I feel great. I feel ready for this fight.
The meeting, the first between current undisputed champions in boxing's four-belt era, is sure to drum up plenty of interest not just among boxing fans but in the general public.
He's done everything in the sport of boxing. He has nothing to prove.
Alvarez, meanwhile, left a lot to be desired in his last two appearances, failing to score stoppages against Gennady Golovkin and John Ryder.
I agree. No, I don't look my best in the last two fights.
The lack of finishing has left many wondering if the Mexican superstar has passed his peak after 63 professional bouts.
I have nothing to prove to the people, maybe, but I have something to prove to him.
The 154-pound undisputed world champion Jermell Charlo will jump up 2 weight classes to challenge Canelo Alvarez.
Undisputed versus undisputed, king versus king.
The super middleweight champion is an aggressive counter-puncher who has devastating power in both hands.
I think you're going to be more surprised by my power and my strength that I do really have, and I pack a different type of punch.
Both fighters are 33 years old, both are coming off recent surgeries, and both are undisputed champions.
Styles make fights, and I believe that Canelo and Charlo's styles clash perfectly to make this a great fight on September 30th.
Alvarez has much to prove in this fight because people think he's ready to be beaten, and Jermell is in the right place at the right time.
Your feeling when you step in the ring with me is different fighter. I'm different animal.
Canelo Alvarez will make the 4th defense of his unified super middleweight title against light middleweight champion Jermell Charlo in Las Vegas.
I have the opportunity to show him my skills, and that's motivate myself.
Alvarez will attempt to further his standing as the preeminent dominant champion with another victory against an opponent who has an impressive pedigree of his own.
Canelo been a top guy for a long time. And if you want to be great, you always want to just fight the top guy.
Charlo holds all 4 major belts at light middleweight and will be the first opponent to face Alvarez with that landmark on his resume.
Each of these two men isn't satisfied. They continue to challenge themselves.
Canelo was initially expected to meet Jermell's brother, Jermell. Due to personal reasons, Jermell couldn't accept the fight, and the opportunity has been given to Jermell.
And me and my twin brother have been putting on for some years now, and so it's only the idea in time that the Charlos and the Canelos fight.
Some argue that this is an even more compelling fight.
But he just got nailed and down he goes.
It's certainly a rare matchup between two undisputed champions.
This is about a fight for greatness, for legacy, for history.
Jermell is a hittable opponent. Defensively, he is not impenetrable or difficult to hit.
He's gonna feel it. It's hard to say and explain. He never used to be with a fighter like me.
In the past, Canelo has had difficulties with boxers who are fast, elusive, and agile.
Definitely not in his prime, but he's still a really good fighter. Canelo's an elite fighter.
Charlo does not possess those traits and will sustain extensive damage if he can't find a way to evade or defend Canelo's punches.
He's fighting a smaller guy or maybe a lighter puncher.
The big question will be, how will the 14-pound difference affect Charlo, and how well will he be able to absorb the punches from Canelo?
Lateral movement, good abilities to move around the ring, and I'm a general just like he is.
Canelo has proven to have a granite chin, never having been knocked down in his illustrious career. He survived clashes with 2 light heavyweights, Sergey Kovalev and Dmitry Bivol, and outfought the knockout artist Gennady Golovkin in their trilogy series.
And new WBC WBA.
Alvarez is the bigger man, more comfortable fighting at super middleweight and with more experience in massive fights.
He never believed in my skills. He always called me out, and I'm ready to show him in a couple days.
In Charlo's favor, Alvarez has looked as though he has declined over recent fights, getting hit more often, fading in the second half of fights and generally looking just a bit slower and less dynamic overall.
I'm different now, and I prepare myself for a different kind of fights.
After being thoroughly outboxed by Dmitry Bivol in an attempt to become light heavyweight champion for a second time in his career, Alvarez turned in somewhat uninspiring performances against Gennady Golovkin and John Ryder.
I'm gonna put my everything there, my experience, my power, my skills,
He's gone 3 consecutive fights without scoring a stoppage win for just the 3rd time in a career that has already spanned 63 fights. Jermell is a better fighter than Ryder, and it's fair to say that he's fighting at a higher level than the 41-year-old Golovkin we saw last year against Canelo in their trilogy match.
Canelo never seen a fighter of my caliber.
The 2 blueprints that were created to beat Canelo were from fighters that were on another level than Jermell, and it's difficult to imagine him being able to follow what they did. Mayweather was a masterful boxer with lightning-fast hand speed and an excellent ring IQ.
Maybe it's not the correct time to win the best fighter, right? At the age of 23.
Jermell isn't on that level.
I'm not saying he ever reached the level that Canelo reached, but he's as good as he's ever been.
Jermell isn't disciplined, and his technical skills are far below that of Bivol.
Jermell be the best version of himself. Go out and be focused. Focus in training camp, focus in the fight.
Due to the fact that he's going up 14 pounds and he's coming off a 16-month layoff, Jermell Charlo is going into this championship bout as the underdog.
And it's a lot of people that don't believe in you, but we shall see Saturday.
Very few people are giving Jermell a chance of winning the fight because they feel he's an old dog that can't learn new tricks by changing his fighting style.
If we have a prime Canelo, I see a knockout.
I strongly feel Canelo is going to beat Charlo. They're both talented, but he's the bigger fighter.
Jermell is a 15-year pro who has had the same brawling fighting style since day one, and it might not be possible for him to change the way he's always fought.